took a while. It takes confidence, it takes having the right resources, money.
Was there like pressure on other ends to like get you to not
do art? Oh, of course. Everyone wanted me to be a teacher. But being an artist really takes a lot of risk because you don't really see an income.
So we've talked about you, we've talked about the art industry. We've got a little bit of painting in. So my last question, my final question for you is, there might be young artists watching this video right now, and if they are watching, what would be a piece of advice for them that you could give?
Just create as organically as you can and as naturally as possible, because you're putting yourself, your truest self, into your work, and that's gonna set you apart from everyone.
I don't know how far you've gotten with your piece, but we can show each other. Yes.
Ooh, this is beautiful. Oh my god.
I like it.
Thanks. A little bit of pop, a little bit of neighborhood.
Do you?
That beats yours beats mine. Yeah. Nice. I wish you all the luck, dude.
Do you miss your home country? Do you miss your home country? I miss my home country. I'm from Bangladesh. I miss my friend, my neighborhood, school, my playground, its celebration and food. I moved to United States to have a better life, including work, education and money. But these things don't make me happy. Being at my home country, big part is playing cricket. Cricket is my happiness in my life. I only get chance to play cricket in United States only 3 months out of the year. It is hard to find a cricket field to play in Massachusetts. These are 3 months I play cricket in Massachusetts State Cricket League, and the rest of the 9 months I am busy with my work and school. I plan to move to Bangladesh when I am 30 or 40 years old. I have another plan to visit my country in Bangladesh after graduating high school.
I never really liked buses.
You know, the other thing about buses is that
Did you know there's BPA in cash register receipts? Bisphenol A? Isn't that the stuff that's toxic? Yes? Whoa. Did I really just see that? BPA mimics estrogen and is an endocrine disruptor. The endocrine system is what controls your hormones. Didn't BPA used to be in baby bottles and now they're saying it's in the lining of canned goods? Receipts have 250 to 1,000 times as much BPA as cans do. BPA is also in a lot of personal care products. What?
You're only paying $70. And there's your receipt.
BPA is a reproductive, developmental, and systemic toxicant. In human and animal studies, BPA exposure has been associated with fertility issues, breast cancer, asthma, diabetes, depression, heart disease, memory function, higher blood pressure, and can impact the liver and brain function. Whoa. Unlike BPA and hard plastics, BPA and receipts can rub right off onto your skin.
Did you give me my discount?
Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, right there.
Thank you, dear.
No problem.
Hand sanitizers and lotions increase the rate of BPA absorption into the bloodstream.
Okay, good. It's been a kind of a weird week, so just give me a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll do my announcement. Good evening, Cambridge! How's everybody doing tonight? I am doing awesome. I'm trying to do my show, and I'm also trying to get like Facebook Live in it. I'm having a few like technical issues doing it. So anyway, with that being said, my name's Joe. Welcome to the Joe Show. We may be possibly moving to a different day or a later day or a different time, but for right now, we are right here. You know, the phone number's down here. Call me up. Tell me what's going on in your neck of the woods. I'm having, like I said, I'm having problems Facebook Live tonight. I don't know. My phone's just acting weird. Usually there's no problem. I can, you know, use various different connections. But for that being said, you know, tell me what's going on. There's been like 4 people drop out. 4 people drop out so far. That Eric Holder from California, drop out of Democratic primary. There is, you know, Jay from Washington State. He dropped out. He was an environmentalist. You know, his big thing was climate change. And then there's that Hope from you know, Colorado. He dropped out, and this week, Christian Gillibrand dropped out. I've never been so grateful. With all due respect, you know, I you know, respect the lady a lot, but she just said some things that made my skin cringe. The joke about like co-opting the White House after Donald Trump leaves, that just a very childish and immature thing to say. To tell you the truth, I wouldn't have said it. I don't think there's a lot of people that I respect that say that. Not in the adult land anyway, or you know what we call adult land. So who's the next one to fall? I mean, we could place bets on it. I got my wish and she dropped out. I mean, I couldn't stand her. I couldn't stand her since like the Al Franken incident when she asked him to resign. To me, that was just kind of, you know, that was on a lot of levels. You know, it could have been handled better. She should have, you know, taken a private meeting out of respect and talked to him and seen what was going on. But instead, she, you know, was riding on the coattails of the Me Too movement. For me, a lot of people are riding on the coattails of, you know, getting back at Donald Trump. But, you know, we've got 20 some odd people left to go. And whoever makes it, evidently Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders all in a 3-way tie. So it's interesting, you know, it could go either way. There has been Joe Walsh from Illinois, and then there was Joe Walsh from Illinois who jumped in the race. There was, you know, that weird guy who used to be governor of Massachusetts. He was the first one to announce to take on Donald Trump. So we'll see. Has Donald Trump said enough, you know, strange things to, you know, be, you know, primaried out? It wasn't really, you know, Russian, you know, hacking and interference. You know, we'll see. I got into an interesting conversation with actually my landlord via Facebook about the Confederate flag, which I'm not a fan of. I was born and raised in the South. Before I moved up here, I was planning to spend the rest of my life in the South. However, you know, things are what they are, and I ended up moving up here and getting to HLS, Harvard School of Law. And now, you know, I work, you know, full-time, and I attend law school part-time, you know. And having seen so many things, I'm not a fan of the Confederate flag. I'm a fan of the First Amendment. Yeah, you've got the right to say whatever ridiculous, you know, thing you want to somebody on the street, but you know, it's Thomas Jefferson once said you can't, you know, count for the consequences which it sets off, which is true about the First Amendment. It guarantees you the freedom of speech, you know. You can say whatever you want. It doesn't guarantee the reaction people have about it, you know. I'm not a fan of the Confederate flag or the Confederacy. To me, it was a group of traitors. You know, that's the only thing it will be to me. It's never held any kind of higher symbology to me, even though I'm from the South, you know. To me, it's going to be really hard. I don't know how long of a time until we can actually, you know, get the scars of the Civil War under our, you know, belt as a country. You know, for a lot of people, I'm not proud of it. For some they are. You know, for some they are. You know, proud of it. I can't say I'll ever be proud of that part of that time in our nation's history. When all this happened, you know, when it came down to, you know, getting rid of institutionalized slavery, or else keeping it around, you know, or, you know, actually people standing up for a just cause and just getting rid of it completely. I don't know, you know. These are all metaphorical questions I ask on my show because I've studied political science. I enjoy it. You know, I enjoy having random off the wall conversations that lead nowhere. And for some, you know, speaking is my, you know, it's my art form that I go to and that I paint, you know, my pictures with. And a lot of people, you know, paint and have a reaction back, you know. And maybe that's what Donald Trump's problem is that he says these things, these weird, awful things, and then he expects somebody to react to him the way they do. You know, but yet they do. They react to him and they shoot back at him what they think, and then all of a sudden he's offended or upset or whatever. You know, I'm not big into political correctness. You know, I don't think a lot of people are big into political correctness. A lot of people have used it as political correctness as the boogeyman in a way. You know, there's not really that many people out there these days or have ever been that are politically correct. They're all, you know, the censors or, the grading of like what safeness is. You know, but, you know, does it exist? Does political correctness exist? Yes, it does, you know. So it is what it is, you know. There's a guy in Tennessee who's running on the fact that he's going to get rid of political correctness, and you can't get rid of it, you know. Political correctness is out there in the public sphere, in the social sphere, and it will always be there, you know. No matter what degree we lean towards to it, you know. It's not something that you can just, you know, you can't just put the genie back in the bottle. It's not that simple. It's never is. And that's the way I feel about Donald Trump, that no matter what, we'll never be able to put the genie back into the bottle. You know, we can get rid of him. That's true, and that's the interesting thing. That comes up when I talk about Donald Trump, or anybody else talks about him. Will he actually leave the White House, or will he stay there? You know, so we'll see. I mean, it's very interesting. We are part of the great American social experiment, and sometimes our experimentations have worked for the better, and a lot of times to complete failure or do nothing. A lot of things he says and does, like wanting to bomb a hurricane, is ridiculous. You know, and a lot of people get a lot of joy out of some of the ridiculousness that he has to say. But it's a lot of times, to me and several others, it's just embarrassing. I mean, John F. Kennedy was a Catholic. And, you know, and Obama was the first African American man, and if either one of them would have said things like that, you know, they would have been, you know, riled out of town for it. You know, they had like the tan suit incident where, you know, one quote unquote supposed news source said that it was horrible that an American president was wearing a tan suit, but you know, it is what it is. So I mean, here we are. It's Thursday night. You know, as far as I know, the Red Sox not playing. You know, we're on the cusp of the college football season, which is awesome. You know, I'm from the South. I'm all about college football. You know, it would be awesome if like everybody's team won. You know, nobody knew that that a small team called Crimson in Georgia would win. So that's what I'm all about. Yeah. Drink some more. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, we need to enjoy things. My favorite holiday's coming around. I love Halloween. I'm a Halloween person. I don't care for Christmas. You're welcome to celebrate around me, but don't expect like a good reaction from me. And I tell people that all the time. because you're allowed to have the reactions you're allowed to have as long as you don't hurt anybody. But you know, when and the funny thing is, and this is what gets me to some of the same people. I'm not saying all of them, but a few of them will sit there and actually absolutely have a disagreement about like religion, which is part of the First Amendment, by the way. Religion and the right to assemble are both it's the second and the third part of the First Amendment, because like I said, I was having a discussion with somebody earlier about the First Amendment. The freedom of speech is just the first part of the First Amendment, but you also have the right to practice, religion, whatever religion, you feel fit to practice in. And those two Muslim ladies who really practice, the Muslim faith, are getting so much flack for it, even though it clearly says in the U.S. Constitution freedom of religion. And one of the founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, even had a Quran which both of them swore in on. And that's where we're at in a society, is that somehow we get these, degrees of being halfway intelligent and legible, and the degrees of just, completely ignorant and stupid. I don't like using those words because I like to think very highly of others. Because, we should, I'm not going to, but when we use those words like Michelle Obama said, we absolutely, go down the low road, And I've always tried to take the high road. Like I tell everybody, I could find something good in Donald Trump. He was very persistent, he was very, passionate. When he finally got it, he literally focused in on it and zeroed in on it. And, took it in by the horns, and got it. If there was no Russian collusion. There's a possibility, and this is the reason why I had a debate with somebody earlier about, like, the impeachment proceedings. I support impeachment. I'm in support of impeaching him, but I don't want him to get impeached. I absolutely think that there's a possibility that there was no interference or Russian collusion. But I want an investigation to happen that proves me right. I want an investigation to happen. I want an investigation that proves that, all this stuff is a liberal conspiracy, But the sad truth is that, since he's been in office, a lot of our worst fears have come true as far as, like our society is going, and as far as Donald Trump being in office. He's absolutely the quote one Pennsylvania state representative, the shit demon. And that's exact words is that Donald Trump's a shit demon. I mean, only if you let him get to you. Maybe a part of it is the fact that we have social media and that we get live updates via Facebook every 24 hours, and that every other minute seems like the nuclear apocalypse. That's a possibility as well. Those are all possibilities, because maybe and I mean, maybe some of this stuff has been going on since Obama, but here's the thing. A lot of times when I look up the articles I see in there, it seems like this stuff hasn't been going on since Obama. It's just deflection. That's what it is, Answer the question, or don't answer it, and you don't get it, And we've got like a year. We've got a year left of Donald Trump. And hopefully that's it. Hopefully my man Biden's going to be on. It's going to get elected. So far, it's close. Like I said earlier, it's close. It's a three-way tie. Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, and Bernie Sanders. And most people aren't really that Sanders. And a lot of people aren't really, Elizabeth Warren or, Joe Biden. But, we'll see what happens. There's still a possibility it can sway either way. So yeah, that's what we got. And I say this on my show, and I advocate this, is that I support, free lunches, free education, free public gathering spaces, free library, because this is what made our nation and our country great, is all these things. And we found out through science and economics that we found out of Keynesianomics, that the fact that, you pump money into your social structure, it's going to work out, and that it's going to make a better social structure. Trust me, there's a huge difference between, you know, Boston, Massachusetts, and Knoxville, Tennessee, where they're still having a debate about, you know, having a decent transit system. I'm not saying that the T's great. The T's horrible some days. You know, some days I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but we still got something as far as the T goes. And you know, even though we've had the fee increase, you know, here recently, it was actually, you know, July when it increased, you know, and we're still, you know, some people are still really sore about that. I am too, you know, I am very sore about that. Because I could actually, you know, calculate how many T rides I could take within a given day. Now I'm still trying to, you know, calculate, you know, how many T rides I can have within a given day. And a lot of times it's catching fire, you know. We got the orange line that's, you know, last week they rushed a bunch of people off the orange line because it was absolutely on fire. You know, and Charlie Baker said he's the governor that put the most money in the T. I can't believe that, you know. I don't believe that, you know. I think, the caucus has been the governor that actually put the most money in the T. But who knows, you know. There's somebody out there to answer, and I'll probably look it up, if any, like, after this show. I know when I get off the show, I'm going to be ducking and dodging stuff, trying to get to the T-stop. But anyway, I believe in like a strong, subsidized, you know, social structure, not absolute socialism. I don't want absolute socialism or communism. You know, we need a strong social safety net, because that's what made our country great, you know. And we need to get over this ridiculous fear of each other, you know. Just because you tune in on the TV and you see violence that's happening out in, you know, Los Angeles or anything else, it doesn't mean it's happening out in Boston. This violence out in downtown Boston, but it's not as bad as what people make it out to be. You know, there's violence that happens in downtown Knoxville, but not as bad as people make it out to be. I've actually never been harmed in downtown Boston or downtown Knoxville, you know. And I've came close a few times in downtown Chicago and Los Angeles, Detroit, yeah, and but you know it wasn't as bad. You know, I just ignore it and usually goes away. You know, not saying it happens all the time. You know, and I've actually had people, you know, come up and say that they want, you know, looser gun regulations because they live in Massachusetts. Trust me, you don't want, you don't want too many loose gun regulations, unless you'll get the way it was when I was living in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and there was people walking around the aisles of Walmart with AK-47s, you know, trying to, you know, fight, you know, Islamic radicals down the aisles of Walmart. And I mean, you know, it's craziness. I mean, I don't have to be afraid to go, you know, walking down the street to, you know, McDonald's to get a double hamburger, you know, because it does, you know, it's there. I know it exists. You know, maybe it's not as much as people make it out to be, you know. Maybe that's some of the problems that we're having in our society. We, you know, our brain tends to, you know, take it and increase it by 10 or 100, you know. And sometimes we become a prisoner of our own mind. And that's the thing that, you know, I think that's what's wrong with Donald Trump, is that he's become this strange prisoner of his own mind, you know. Yeah, I've always been welcome to debate to people about why I don't like 45 and why we're fixing to head into a recession, which is true. We're going straight down into a recession, you know. And, you know, I've always been, you know, in the middle. You know, I've always tried to maintain my status in the middle. And once we head down the recession, you know, I'll be a little bit lower down in the middle. And it's going to be, you know, completely horrible for some people that have, you know, never been through a recession. It's going to be, you know, absolutely great for some who've been through it before. I mean, you know, we went through a recession since, you know, George W. Bush, you know, because apparently he had, you know, the idea of the trickle down effect, you know, which has been going on since ever. It went on since J. Edgar Hoover. That's what set off the Great Depression. One of the things. Not saying it was like the end all. You know, there's a lot of things. Hopefully, you know, Donald Trump hasn't completely undone all the stuff that's been going on, you know, in our society since then, you know. But we'll see. You know, maybe, you know, Donald Trump, you know, hasn't really undone all of the economic safeguards that are there since Obama. And there are some people, you know, this is my idea, and I've witnessed this. There are some people, no matter how horrible it gets, that Donald Trump will always be the, you know, orange savior. Not me, you know. I took it for what it was, you know. I almost voted for John McCain, but I ended up voting for Obama. I almost voted for Mitt Romney, but I ended up voting for Obama. And you know, I did it, you know, with suspicion. But there was no way I was going to vote for 45 because to me he didn't fall into my political philosophy of the way I see things. You know, he is the definition of the 1%, and he has literally given jobs to all of his, you know, Wall Street cronies. So I've got a few more minutes if anybody wants to call in and, you know, add on to whatever rant I talked about tonight. You feel more than welcome to, you know. This is what my show's about, you know. It's all about, you know, talking and socializing and getting to know each other and seeing what's out there, you know, beyond our own various social bubbles and perspective. You know, the closed mouth doesn't get fed, you know, and so we talk more and we talk more and we talk. And then we get various understandings of what's out there, you know. And we realize that, you know, maybe this dark tunnel we're going through, this struggle we call life, is not as bad as we see. But, you know, that's a matter of perspective, you know. Like, possibly about 25% of life is a matter of perspective. And so I've got like 10 more seconds on the show. I'm closing off for tonight. My name's Joe. Everybody have a great night.